animesecrets.org, the answer to all your burning questions.
Today on Animated Classified, we talk about Louisiana Comic Con, Lafayette. And you guessed it, Lafayette, Louisiana. We're going to give you a good, bad, and ugly of this convention. I'm your host, Rizwan. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CMD_Drake, and I'm joined by...
I'm Lexi. I'm the merchandise manager for Anime Secrets, and you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr as Eevylynn. And that's spelled Eevyllynn.
Yeah. Check her out, because she has some really cool stuff. Anyway, so like I just said, we're going to talk about Louisiana Comic Con, Lafayette today. And there's a lot of good and bad in this con that I kind of want to go over, and I felt it's easier to kind of talk it out instead of writing a report, given the nature of this convention, I guess, because there's just so many things that could have been handled differently, but at the same time, I'm not going to say it's a terrible convention.
It just needs a little bit of work.
Yeah.
It was their first time, and they weren't quite prepared for the size of the crowd that showed up, because their tickets were, really good, good priced. And so a lot of first timers ended up going just to check it out and see what convention life is like. And yeah, the space was not big enough to have that many people. It was not organized enough to have that many people.
Yeah,
So,
there was a definite amount of things that could have been done to make this a lot easier for the convention. First of all, the venue, like Lexi was saying, there's some severe venue issues that I found. Um, when they first started advertising this convention in the area, just some heads up, we're both from Lafayette, so for us, it's a home con. And when they mentioned that it'll be at the Cajun Dome Center, my first reaction was, oh, cool. We're going to the massive dome to have a convention. That sounds like fun. And just to give you like a little um, comparison, it's not as big as the Superdome in New Orleans, but it's fairly big enough for like events of that kind of magnitude.
yeah, it's quite commonly used for big conventions, like business conventions that come in. We constantly have car shows and stuff. And so, yeah, most of us, whenever we heard Cajun Dome, we're like, okay, there's going to be enough room in the Cajun Dome. It's not too big, but it's not, small. So it'll be perfect. And no, it was one of
Not
the
really.
little, it was in the convention center next to it, which is significantly smaller.
Yeah, and it was really awkward trying to navigate in the beginning the event room because the convention center is split on two floors. The first floor was a basic big ballroom thing where they just threw
Okay.
in all the vendors and artist alley and the guests that have like their tables for signings and meeting the people and all that.
Yeah, and the industry guests they had along one side and then along the other side and in the middle, it didn't really seem like there was, a split between the vendors and the artist alley. It seemed like they basically had a first come first serve with all the tables for both vendors and artist alley, which I didn't really like.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think the same is true for like fan groups as well.
Yeah, they should have a little bit more of an obvious split so that if you want a fan made thing, then you go to the artist alley. If you want, a a more industry, created thing like,
A comic book.
licensed stuff, comic books, the Funko Pop because there were so many booths that sold those. Book sacks, wallets, all those
T-shirts.
things. Exactly. You have that section. And then some conventions, they also have an area for the different fan groups, and they all of the tables were just meshed together, and it just didn't seem very cohesive. And everyone was just, running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to, see everything all at once.
Yeah, which made things really awkward and difficult when I have a friend at the local anime club table trying to tell me to go find him to hang out for a bit. and I have to go through the entire place trying to figure out, all right, where's the fan groups at? Wait, where am I right now? What is this thing? Oh, that's cool, but wait, what? I was so confused.
Yeah, and the maps that they gave, it didn't really help at all
Yeah. Actually, to be quite honest, I didn't realize that the second floor was in use until
until the second
halfway
day.
halfway through the first day, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I realized it, but I didn't really, have any reason to go up there, so I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But
Um, yeah, good.
also for the panel rooms, I was talking to an inside source, and yeah, they were very. It was a worker for the convention center, and they were annoyed as well about the whole disorganized deal of everything, and how they didn't have an overflow room for any of the panel rooms upstairs because it was so packed whenever we were doing the cosplay contest.
Oh
Like
my God.
you couldn't really enter or exit because there was a huge crowd of people.
Yeah. Um,
I can go on about that cosplay contest forever, actually.
actually, let's talk about that cosplay contest real quick.
Okay, let's talk about
Um,
it.
so for those of y'all that may have been to other conventions, when you go to a cosplay contest, if you've been to one in the past, there's certain things you kind of come to expect from, at least from the cosplay contest. I don't know how sci-fi cons do this much because I've only been to like one or two of theirs, so I can't give you like a really good metric to judge them by.
Okay, I've been to the New Orleans Comic Con,
Yeah,
and so they did the contest relatively similar. And from what I've seen from watching
here's a cosplay.
yeah, I couldn't think of the name of it. Heroes of Cosplay. It looks like they have basically the same setup where, each cosplayer goes on stage, has their little moment to pose and stuff, and then walks off stage. And the whole time, the judges are there. And even if they meet with the cosplayers beforehand, everyone's still required to go on stage. And the judges still watch them. They look for stage presence and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there was none of that in this
Absolutely
contest.
none.
The
Um,
the
instead
judges
of
didn't even show up until about 3, 4 minutes in.
yeah, by which point the children's portion was already for the most part done.
Well, it was like halfway done. It would have been done if it weren't for the fact that someone cut off the lights and then put them back on and then cut them off again a couple more times.
That was
While
fun.
those poor kids were standing on stage, I felt so bad for them. They
Yeah,
were just standing there like, what do I do? And then whenever they got off the stage, there was this huge crowd of people, and anyone could have taken those kids.
yeah,
Like that was the thing that frightened me the most about the whole little kids part of it. The kids were just told to walk across the stage, and then there was a group of people blocking the door, and anyone could have just grabbed one of the kids and ran out the door. And
yeah,
who would have stopped them?
exactly. The bigger thing that I found kind of irritating was the cosplay contest wasn't like a walk-on per se, it was like a parade.
Yeah, they literally
So,
called it a parade.
like, they would instead of like having one kid get on stage, do their little photo shoot, pose on up there, and then walk off. It was a constant line of
People just
kids
walking.
walking or running or
I
something.
mean, and you can tell that there were some that, worked with their parents on how to pose and do the whole contest thing, and they try and do it, but the other kids are coming up behind them, and so they're getting pushed along, and some of the kids just ran across. And the worst part is whenever it came to the adult cosplays, it was the same thing except worse.
Yeah,
Like I was concerned that some people's props were about to break because people just ran by as the person was trying to get on stage with their complicated, probably very, complex, expensive props
yeah.
and almost breaking them.
And on top of that, like, and this comes from like a personal thing for me. There was a kid who was a really badass Minotaur for the contest. and he was in a wheelchair.
Oh. Yeah, they didn't
And
attempt to put the wheelchair up top onto the stage. Like I've seen, little hometown contests before, and they pick up the wheelchair, they put it on the stage, and then they have people on the other side to help them come down as well. They didn't even try and bring the wheelchair to them on the other side of the stage, beyond the fact that they made them walk across.
yeah, the kid had to walk across when in actuality he shouldn't have had to because he could. I felt bad because his mom had to actually help him like walk across the stage, and that kid was
God.
struggling. He was such a trooper. I
Oh,
really want to
Jesus. I
take a
know.
second. I want to take a second and like give him an applause for like what he did because that was courageous and amazing. Because
Mm,
I don't know many kids who with that kind of difficulty would even attempt it. They'd probably be too scared to get on stage to begin with.
yeah, and the poor kid, his legs were shaking the whole time,
Yeah.
and one of the people with Anime Secrets had to go and grab the wheelchair and bring it to them on the other side of the stage so that whenever they got down, they had the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because the convention people were just all standing there staring. I mean, there was a guy that was standing right next to the wheelchair, and he didn't even attempt.
Yeah, he didn't even attempt to like do anything. He just kind of stood there and watched. Which is part of my problem with staff is that they weren't really proactive with anything.
Yeah, they just stood there and waited, like
Yeah.
everything's gonna just get handed to them. And then the MC that they had was horrible. Oh my goodness. He was very insulting. He'd ask little kids, questions about why did you cosplay this character? Because I like them. Well, why do you like them? You weren't even born whenever they came out.
Oh, that kind of grinded my gears quite a bit.
Oh my goodness. And it was other questions like that. Very
Actually,
similar. That's
the
to every
MC
one of.
was not that great to begin with.
No, he wasn't. He was not funny. He was
No.
rude. He'd ask them questions and then cut them off.
Yeah. Like I don't want to judge him too much because I don't know him, but I must say he carried himself as being very pompous and oh look at me, I'm the MC for the show, so therefore I could do all these cool things without really understanding the
What I'm
etiquette
doing.
that the convention community at large has when the MC position.
Yeah. Like he didn't seem to have any respect for anyone. Not just not just the cosplayers either. Like the people in the crowd too.
Yeah. But yeah, that MC was really rude. Like even the following day at on Sunday, he was quite rude with, people trying to get stuff done for the convention and also with me personally, I was setting up the video recording for a Vernon Wells panel and he got really haughty and kind of rude about the fact that I was setting up video equipment in the aisle and wanted me to move the video equipment to in front of my seat, which is not as good of a vantage point in my opinion for taking video. It just doesn't work as well. But yeah, I don't like the MC guy at all. Um, Other things that happened on Saturday though. I mean, when we talk about this organization, there's also when we first got to the con, they had no idea what a press pass was. Which
Yeah. There was a lot of walking back and forth for that, and several people talking on their walkie-talkies and then just standing there doing nothing.
yeah, there are three doors that lead into the convention center proper. And we go to the first door. The guy's like, okay, well, your pass isn't going to be here. Go to the next door. All right, next door. Sorry, your pass is not here. Go to the next door. All right, next door. Hey, we're at the last door. Where's my pass? And all they can say is, well, let me walkie-talkie the guys in charge of all this to find out where your pass is, because we don't actually know what that
Oh,
even
because
means.
the first door that we went to, for me, I had a 2-day pass, not a press pass, and so they said, okay, the 2-day passes are over there, and he had a walkie-talkie, and so he said, that either the second or the third door should have the press passes. And so we went do mine, and then we talked to them and said that, the guy had said that yours was over there too. And she's like, oh, no, no, it's not. Hold on. I don't have a walkie talkie. And the guy that had the walkie talkie walked away. Um, Give me a little bit. We waited for a little bit, and then eventually she went, found someone with a walkie talkie, I guess, and then came back and said, okay, they're going to be here with an answer in a bit. And we were standing there, I think, for 20, 30 minutes.
About 20
Before,
minutes,
yeah,
and
before.
we weren't the only ones looking for a press pass either.
Yeah, there was another lady with press that was there waiting for answers as well.
Yeah, and she was getting kind of irritated, I think, with the lack of response, as was I. Because, first of all, you, you, we applied for a press pass to come help your convention, give you publicity, and, do all the cool coverage that we like to do because we're nerds and we like this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then you'd leave us just standing there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to make a huge thing out of it until later on when we actually got my press pass. So the solution to the entire where's my pass at,
Oh,
there's
you had
a,
to all the way over there to the box office.
yeah,
And so we
so,
had to leave the building and walk to the Cajun Dome where, the huge lines were at and go to one of those booths.
which, by the way, that line in general was ginormous. I really want to say there's at least 1,000 or 2,000 people when we drove up originally.
Probably so. It was almost to the road.
Yeah, so that was a huge line. Luckily, we found a way to just not worry about a line and get to the box office and get our press pass. Except the press pass I was given wasn't actually my press pass.
Yeah, they tried giving us press passes to the Daily Advertiser.
Which is a local newspaper for Lafayette.
It's like, no, we're not going to have press passes with their name on it. What if they decide to sue us or something?
Yeah. So they end
Like,
up,
oh.
they tell me that they already gave the anime secret passes out to somebody else.
Because they didn't think to, check the
Check.
names on the press passes, even though they have a list of all the companies that applied for them.
Yeah, and I had to
And you
sign
had
off
to,
for the thing.
yeah, that was real great, guys.
Yeah, that was quite possibly the most frustrating part of my experience at the convention was dealing with the fact that they gave out the passes haphazardly to other journalists that did not need to have our name on them. Luckily, I tracked down one. I was like, "Hey, can you go return that and get your own name, please?"
Yeah, because we don't want, it's kind of a risk to the brand name.
Definitely.
That's, yeah, that kind of bugged me.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, as a whole, it was just very unorganized, and as I said, my inside source to the convention center, he said that on his end it seemed very unorganized as well.
Yeah.
And they well, the thing is, they're trying to have multiple conventions in 3 states with multiple cities. So I think like 7 conventions, and I think this is maybe their second year being around.
First year.
So they're really
It was definitely the
first year
first year.
here. First year here. They
No, no,
didn't
no.
have
Anywhere.
anywhere?
Anywhere.
Because I thought they had one at Shreveport last year, or was it this year too?
That was all this year.
Oh, okay, well, even worse.
They had
You're a year old.
they had Mississippi Comic Con. They had Bossier City Comic Con. They had Lafayette Comic Con. And next year they're having these 3 conventions plus I think the owner told me 3 more. Maybe 2 more. But either way,
What
five
was
to
that
six
about
more
the
conventions.
What was that about the Shreveport one then?
Bossier City and Shreveport are the same thing in my brain.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there could be a Shreveport one too for all I know, but I'm pretty certain
I
it
don't
was.
know. Probably the same one then.
I know they did Bossier City Comic Con though.
Yeah.
With talking to people who had been to that one for at the convention that we went to. Apparently that was also chaotic with they had
Organization.
a very small venue, smaller than what we had. So they had a line, constant line, where if you walk into the con, you couldn't leave until you were ready to leave without giving up your spot to be in the building because they had a line that had to go in because fire codes and all that. So it was like a constant line of like, all right, you're leaving. Here, take that pass and go in, kind of stuff.
That's bad.
Thankfully, we didn't have that over here.
Yeah. In general, the convention is way too young for how big they're trying to be because they're not ready to handle it at all. They're barely able to rent.
Blah, blah,
Sorry.
blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah. They barely seem to be able to handle one convention, much less multiple ones. So I think if they focused on just one convention and building that one up and then slowly adding others, they'd be much better placed. But I think they're stretching themselves way too thin for for just beginning.
Yeah, and on top of that, also the thought process they had for panels didn't extend out as well as it should have. Um, Sunday morning, I want to go to this panel on with Vernon Wells because I'm a huge Power Rangers Time Force fan, and he's Ranzik from Power Rangers and Time Force. And I get to the convention at 10:30. The staff sees me trying to get in, and apparently the doors don't open until 11. The panel begins at 11, by the way. So I think the convention opened at 10, so I drive on over at 10:30. And the staff's like, "Oh hey, you have a different looking pass than what the other guys have. You can come on in because I think you're with us." So I'm like, "All right, I guess I'll do this." So I go up to the panel room because I figure, well, I'm inside. There's nothing really I want to do because I have a half an hour to kill. I'll just go up, set up the camera, um, watch some videos on my iPad until the thing begins. Well, 10:55, I look up from my iPad, I look around, and there's nobody in the room at all, not even like staff. So I'm like, okay, there's still 5 minutes that they could pull a miracle out of. No, 11:10, nothing. By this point, I see like one or two people kind of trickling in and are waiting for the panel. And one of them was actually a really cool lady who really wants to see Vernon because she was a Mad Max fan from the old movies. And after like half an hour, yeah, half an hour, she's like, okay, I didn't pay to come in and sit on the chair and not do anything for this long.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go downstairs and get a photo of the DeLorean because that DeLorean looked pretty cool. So they left, and I'm still waiting around. Around like 11:45, I've been sitting there for about what, an hour and 15 minutes.
Something like that, yeah.
I was about ready to get up and leave as well because like, okay, there's no way this is gonna even happen anymore. And the entire time they're like, yeah, Vernon. They tried blaming Vernon and saying he didn't want to start until he had like a full audience, like more people in the convention area to go see him. But in actuality, when I talked to him later on, he's like, yeah, I was just kind of waiting for them to tell me that they were ready.
Wow. Talk about,
So,
responsibility for your problems.
I mean, and it was the same MC guy who was saying that, and he was actually kind of rude because he wanted me to move my camera stuff, which I kind of mentioned before. But he was very rude about it. He was saying, "Well, I need that area to walk in." And I'm looking at the aisle, and the aisle's actually pretty big for anyone to walk past the camera
Yeah,
because the
that
tripods.
that aisle was really wide. He could
Yeah,
have by easily. He's just
and
being a diva.
yeah, and then on top of that, like he never once or any of the staff ever really went to the middle aisle because I ended up waiting for the Vernon Wells panel because as I was packing up, they're like, "Hey guys, Vernon Wells will be here at 12 o'clock instead, and he's gonna have a half an hour panel instead of a full hour panel." And some people asked, "What about the next panel?" I said, "Oh, well, that'll start at 12:30 and 1:30, and just go down the list from there." I'm like, okay." I mean, we kind of wanted to see like a full panel, but I
Yeah.
guess that works too. I gotta say, it was a really fun, like, the panels were really cool. Like, Vernon and Pruitt from Here is Reborn,
Mm-hmm.
both really cool people.
Oh yeah, I loved the Pruitt panel that I went to.
Yeah, like, Pruitt Taylor Vance is probably one of the coolest people ever, because he actually wasn't, like, trying to, what's the word I'm looking for here? He was actually trying to be a genuine human being, which I don't really find very often when I go to, like, the
He's
bigger sci-fi cons. Like,
very down to earth.
yeah,
I think he said something about being, a local guy. He's from like Baton Rouge,
yeah.
and so yeah, it was just a very chill panel.
And it was really great because I got to nerd out and talk about Heroes, which is probably one of my
Oh
favorite TV
yeah.
shows. So, yeah, overall, like, I know we've been ragging on this con a lot for like the last 20 minutes or so, but there is some good in this con. It introduced a lot of new people to the convention life.
Yeah, my little cousin got to go to a convention for the first time, and he's all excited about that.
Yeah. And I had a friend who this is her first convention ever. She went dressed as Princess Mononoke, and she had never been anything like this before. So
Oh,
the
she
con
loved it.
the constant, hey, can I get a photo of you? Or hey, can I get a photo with you? Like that really was cool for her. Like she loved that. And that's really what conventions are all about. It's like having fun, experiencing something new. And for like all the new people who had never been to a con, that's what they got.
Yeah.
But for people like us who have been around for a while and seen many different cons of all magnitudes and sizes, all the way from like really small 200 people cons all the way to like 30,000 people cons.
Yeah, it was
Um,
it was just not good for veterans that, knew what to expect for conventions.
right. Like they boasted 5,000 people, so I figured, okay, mid-sized con, no big deal. That's awesome. I think there's a certain mindset you get when you think about the con. For
Mhm.
example, when you think of, let's say, BayouCon, who has, I, I'm guessing, because I don't know official numbers from their convention, like 1,000 people maybe, all the way to Acon, who's like well into 30,000s right now. You have a certain notion of like, okay, a small con, you can expect like local people, and just a fun, chill, relaxed con. Or with Acon, it's like, oh my god, must go everywhere, do everything all the time. Oh my god. Because there's always something to do, always something going on. So you kind of plan
Mhm.
accordingly. But then when you go to a mid-sized con, you can kind of expect a lot of chilling mixed with a lot of cool things to do. And the numbers boasted on Louisiana Comic Con led me to think, cool, I could chill with some friends, but while doing some really cool stuff. And while I met three really cool actors, Vernon Wells, Pruitt, Taylor Vince, and the guy from Back to the Future, Mayor Goldie. I don't remember his actual name. That's really bad of me, but whatever. um, I met all three of them, all really cool people. There wasn't a lot going on outside of
Yeah.
that. There was a dealer's room, which Lexi can tell you.
It was a hot mess.
10 minutes after I got to the dealer's room, I was bored of it. But I'm just normally bored by a dealer's room to begin with. We,
I'm a big dealer's room person, and I was very disappointed with it.
yeah. But see, you like that kind of stuff, so for you,
Exactly. So I know what to, you know, kind of
yeah,
expect and what good and not good things to see in there, and it was just not a good one.
yeah.
It was too chaotic.
Whereas for me, I go for like the cosplay contest, the AMV contest, or like really cool panels with the actors and just like all the big staple things that you would expect at a con, like you go to those things, that's where I'd be. And there wasn't
Mhm.
a lot of that. And I'm not saying like, like have an opening ceremony dinner with like,
Yeah, it's
a
just it
big
didn't have
grand thing. But like have
that many
something going on.
panels.
Like
Like
have
even
some
just
games, have something.
yeah, like just small little panels in addition to the big panels, just to, liven things up a bit, give people things to do other than just stand or sit around, because that's the great majority of what I saw as we were walking around, just people, gathered in little circles just talking.
Yeah. I mean, that's normal as well for a convention where you see
Well,
a
yeah, that
lot
is
of the younger
normal.
kids sitting on the floor in the hallway just talking. That's normal, but at the same time, it's not normal for that to be all they do.
Yeah, like that's all pretty much everyone did, other than for the cosplay contest.
Yeah. So, yeah, overall, I love the idea of having a new convention in Lafayette because I gotta tell you, having MechaCon here from years 1 through 5 of their run, and then having like a year or two where there's no con in Lafayette, and having Louisiana come in, and then Louisiana left this year, I
Yeah,
was
this
kind
is their
of
last year in Lafayette.
yeah, I was kind of worried after Louisiana left because there'd be nothing convention-wise left here. So I got really excited when I saw Louisiana Comic Con announce a Lafayette location.
Yeah. I think I think we need just, a convention that's focused on just that one convention and
Yeah.
covers all sorts of sides to nerd life.
Mhm.
That'd probably be best.
I mean, I don't mind the way that they ran the conventions. They just need like more structure and organization and more events going
Exactly.
on. There just needs to be more of it, and I think I'm
More
hoping actually,
room,
yeah.
more planned, and more organization, pretty much.
I'm hoping that the following year there'll be a lot more organization and structure and more things going on and more room. Please, please, please.
Please, for the love of God, more room.
Go to the Cajun Dome, please.
Yeah, organize that contest for the love of God. Make sure the judges are there the whole time j- and have them, actually have a stage presence part of the judging, not just have them running across the stage, because that's that's kind of irresponsible, quite frankly.
Yeah.
'Cause I was seriously waiting for someone to get hurt.
Yeah, I was too, but not for the morbid reason. I was more like worried it would happen.
Oh no, I didn't want it to happen.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
It's just it was just so chaotic that I was kind of worried for a little bit there. But no,
Yeah.
whenever I was sorry, going back to the contest, I was watching the video and showing my husband the next day because it was so short because everyone was just running across. It ended up being only what 25 minutes, and so you were able to upload it like that night.
Yeah. That never happens.
Yeah, that never happens. Usually they're like 2, 3, maybe 4 hours long. And yeah, I'm watching this. After 5 minutes, my husband's like hiding under the blankets, like, no, I don't want to see anymore. He's like, this is bad. I don't want to see it. I'm like, okay.
And I mean, even the people that were in the contest, like participants, a lot of them, when I talked to them later, are like, yeah, I wish I could have had more time on stage just to like show off my costume and, let the world see what I did. Because honestly, there's some really good cosplayers out there. Like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, another thing I want to talk about. Sorry.
so,
In terms of contest, now that we're back on that. Um, none of the people that won walked across stage. And almost every single one of them was showing off a lot of skin. Now, I'm not against that. However, it was very obvious way of, the way the judges were judging. And I saw cosplayers that had, much better costumes with much more detail that lost to the ones that were showing a lot of skin and that were sexy.
yeah. I'm not gonna comment too much on the adult contest because I don't know. I don't remember per se if they all did or did not walk across the stage. But I will say for the children's contest, I was a little disappointed in the awarding procedure and like the on Facebook. There's a lot of people complaining after the fact about how that contest was run, where they had like little kids.
In store-bought costumes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was bugging me too. I mean, yeah, it's cute. It's a really cute costume, but you don't choose store-bought costumes as your winners.
I
That's not the
mean,
point of cosplay contest.
To be fair, the only store-bought costume, I mean, I did some research after on the event page.
That Hulk one
The
was store bought.
the Hulk one, the store-bought, definitely.
Oh,
Third
yes.
place, I think. The Princess Leia, her mom actually posted a lot of her stuff, like the progress photos afterwards, because people kept demanding that was a store-bought Leia. I'm like, why are y'all making such a huge deal out of this? Like the kids
Leia.
had fun, but
It was Padme.
was it Padme?
Yeah.
Okay. I just remembered insert Star Wars female name here.
Rizwan.
I
How dare you?
I mean,
You can't tell the difference between Leia and Padme.
one had buns, one didn't have buns. I don't remember if she had buns or
Exactly.
not.
The little girl didn't have buns, and she had
Okay.
a gun. It was from the second of the
The
prequels.
prequels?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I thought her costume was really well done, given it was
Oh
homemade and
yeah.
everything.
I loved her costume.
Yeah. And the little Harlequin, she had some really good stage presence, I gotta tell you.
Oh, she was adorable.
So, I guess what I'm trying to say here is when it's a little kid's costume contest, there shouldn't be actual winners and losers of it because they're too young to really make their own costume. They're too young to really understand the gravity of, hey, they're competing. They're just going on there to have fun and show off. Like, I promise you, most of these kids' parents just made the costume for them to go have fun. And all the kids want to do is be like, hey, look, I'm Darth Vader. Hey, look, I'm the Hulk.
Mm, I'm sure at least some of them might have wanted to. Because, like, they might have seen Heroes of Cosplay and wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So you can't really say that.
Well, okay, maybe for the kids that are older than 5, I could see that argument. But
No, not necessarily, Rizwan.
mm,
If you're a little kid and you watch shows, you're much smarter. Generally, little kids are much smarter than most adults give them credit for.
that might be true.
You haven't been around little kids that much.
No,
I
I
have.
haven't.
They're much smarter than you're giving them credit for. If they've watched Heroes of Cosplay with their parents, they probably saw the whole thing and they're like, I want to do that. And so the parents were like, okay, here's a convention in our town, let's try it.
Yeah.
So, like the little Elsa from Frozen Forever,
Mhm.
she was so excited to be Elsa and posing. Like I saw her outside of the contest and I think her mom made their costume. Like
Mhm.
she was so excited. And she tried doing the whole thing on top, like on stage. And yeah, she was one of the kids that the lights went out on.
Poor kid. Actually, I remember that. Yeah, because the lights went out like 2, 3 times, I think.
Yep.
Honestly, I thought the lights going out was part of the show. I thought they were gonna do something.
Yeah, and yet me at first I thought it was one of the cotton candy people trying to get everyone in the gaming room's attentions because I had to go outside and answer a phone call and I came back and one of the cotton candy ladies went into the gaming room. She's like, "Anyone wanting cotton candy?" And then suddenly the lights went out in there and she's like, "Hi, does anyone want cotton candy?" And me and some of the others that were in the hallway were like, "Did she just turn out the lights on them? Oh my god." People are not going to be happy. But yeah, she didn't turn off the lights. It was like some events manager or something who had no business turning off the lights, apparently.
I thought it was somebody that was against the wall in the cosplay contest room and who accidentally hit the
No,
lights.
you know that area that normal people aren't allowed in?
Yeah.
That's where the lights were because it turned off the lights in multiple rooms. And
Oh.
yeah, for some reason she was fiddling with the lights. And
Gotcha.
yeah, like her own coworkers didn't even understand why she was messing with the lights. So
Oh man. But yeah, overall, Louisiana Comic Con has some good stuff going for it and has some things you need to work on.
I mean, it has the potential to be a really good convention. Don't
Oh
get me
yeah,
wrong.
definitely. Like they brought in some really big name actors. They brought in Son Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy. They had Vernon Wells. They had Actress from American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Todd Habercorn
Like,
was there. I
had
mean,
money, there were several people that I would have gotten, pictures and autographs of, but I didn't have enough to do that.
yeah, they cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I easily went through like $100 that weekend on just autographs at the guest.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, but in the end, it was kind of worth it. Cause
I love getting autographs from my favorite actors. I've slowly got a collection going.
yeah, me too.
Thanks to you, for the most part.
Eh, eh,
Eh,
you know,
you know, because you're awesome and stuff.
yeah. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite parts of conventions, like going for the autographs now, because as of like a year ago, I turned into like an autograph fiend. I go collecting autographs off of eBay or in person or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool, like having like these big name actors there to get the opportunity to meet them, shake their hand, get a photo with them, and all that good stuff. Like that's really the part that I love about these conventions that are coming out now.
Like, it made my day whenever, Pruitt Taylor Vince, whenever, I couldn't afford to get an autograph or a picture with him, I'm just like, can I at least have a hug? He's like, oh yeah, hugs are free. And just give me a big old bear hug. That made my day. I
Oh
was so
yeah,
excited.
oh yeah. She was on cloud nine after. But yeah, it was a great convention. For like meeting people, and my favorite part for me was sitting outside next to the little stand, just taking photos of people walking by. Cause it was really fun, just like crowd watching. Cause a lot of people coming in are classmates of mine from classes at the local university. So seeing people have class with like, hey, what are you doing here? And they're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, I kind of work the convention as a press person. Like, oh, really? Well, I'm just here for like my first time. I've never been here before. So like having an interaction and seeing like so many new people come in at something I love
Mhm.
was really cool. So,
Agreed. Definitely agreed.
but yeah, do you got anything else? Because I think we're pretty much done with,
I think we pretty much covered it all.
yeah. So, we're Anime Declassified. You can find us on YouTube, iTunes, as always, like, subscribe, tweet, email, Pinterest, whatever. Whatever's the new social media fad, do that thing. Cause, yeah. You laugh at me. Last time I said post a flyer on the on your post office and everything like that. So I go nuts to this thing. But yeah, have a good day, guys. Bye.
Hey, you! Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. You can also check out Anime Secrets on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. Do you want more than that? I know you do. Then go to our website where you can see daily updates and articles and exclusive interviews.